Morning children. So you completed ninth class, coming to the 10th class. We are going to learn different types of life process. Life process is nothing but like respiration, nutrition, and like a reproduction, excretion, next coordination, so like etc. Like you are going to learn different types of life process in the coming 10th class. So how the life process will be takes place in every aspects, like its respiration and nutrition, reproduction, excretion, we are going to learn. In this, the first life process we are going to learn nothing but nutrition. Nutrition is a basic life process. Nutrition is a basic life process. Without the nutrition, the other life process will not be takes place in our body. So what is meant by nutrition? Nutrition is nothing but taking the food taking and utilizing it. Taking the food and utilizing it is called nutrition. So how the nutrition will be takes place? Nutrition will be takes place with the help of nutrients. Nutrition will be takes place with the help of nutrients. Nutrients, in the sense, there are two types of nutrients, nothing but major and minor. Major and minor. So what is the requirement of nutrition to our body? Now I am talking, and you are watching the lesson with the help of your eyes, and you'll walk, you'll run, and you'll fight with each other. Sometimes you'll read the books. These type of some type of life process, nothing but actions takes place by the body, will be done with the help of a nutrition. And from where the nutrition came? The nutrition came from the food which was taken by us. So the food which was taken by us consisting of nutrients. That nutrients help us to do all these actions with the help of these nutrients. So there are two types, major nutrients and minor nutrients. Major nutrients, in the sense, which require to our body in a large amount. Minor nutrients, in the sense, which require to our body in a less amount. So major nutrients are like carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Minor nutrients, in the sense, like vitamins and minerals. So they required in a small amount, they are called minor nutrients. The nutrients which are required for our body in a huge amount, large amount, they are called carbohydrates, proteins and fats. In previous classes, like a 7th class, you learned about the major and minor components, what are the functions of their functions to our body. Like carbohydrates, they are energy makers, proteins bodybuilders, and even fats also energy makers to our body. And vitamins and minerals plays some prominent role to every part of our body. So this is about introduction about the nutrition. And next, there are two types of nutritions are there based upon the food intake and utilizing it. There are two types of nutrition. One is autotrophic nutrition. Next one is heterotrophic nutrition. So first we'll discuss about the autotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic, the name itself, auto, by itself. Tropes means organisms. The organisms which prepare their own food by themselves, they are called autotrophs. What? The organisms which prepare their own food by themselves, they are called autotrophs, and such type of nutrition is called autotrophic nutrition. So, example for autotrophic nutrition is plants. Plants prepare their own food by taking energy as sunlight. With the help of sunlight, they prepare their own food. So it is also called it as photoautotrophs. They are also called it as photoautotrophs. Why? Because photo means light. So with the help of the plants preparing their own food, so they are also called photoautotroph. Basically they are called autotrophs, but in detail they are called photoautotrophs. Why? Because they are taking the energy from sunlight. So other than green plants, some other organisms also prepare their own food. They are bacteria. There are some bacteria and some blue algae, like blue-green algae. Okay, not only plants prepare their own food, but other organisms like bacteria and blue-green algae also prepare their own food. But here plants take the energy from the sunlight and prepare their own food. But here bacteria and algae, they do not require any light. But how they will prepare their own food means based upon the chemicals present in the atmosphere. With the help of chemicals present in the atmosphere, they utilize the chemicals and prepares their own food. Okay, so they are called chemoautotrophs. They are called what, ma? Chemoautotrophs. Nothing but the organisms which prepare their own food with the help of chemicals. Best example we can take nitrogen fixing bacteria. You learned in the 9th class. Nitrogen fixing bacteria like rhizobium. Rhizobium will take the nitrogen from the atmosphere, right? So the food supplement taken, the chemical was taken from the atmosphere. So these such type of animals which takes the chemicals from the atmosphere and prepares their own food, they are called chemoautotrophs. So this is about the autotrophic nutrition. Next, coming to heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic means, hetero means different. So the organisms which depends on other organisms, different organisms for their food, they are called heterotrophs. They are called heterotrophs, and such type of nutrition is called heterotrophic nutrition. So heterotrophic nutrition is differentiated into 3 types. First one is saprophytic nutrition. Next one is parasitic nutrition. Next one is holozoic nutrition. How many types of nutritions are heterotrophic nutrition are there? 3 types of heterotrophic nutrition based upon which they depends on other organisms for their food. First, we discuss about the saprophytic nutrition. Saprophytic nutrition. Sapro means rotten. Sapro means rotten. So all are already digested. Actually, what will happen when we take the food into the mouth? The food will be going to our digestive system or nothing but stomach. There the food will be digested and it will be absorbed. But here what happens means already digested food was taken into the body. Such type of nutrition is called saprophytic nutrition, and that animals which exhibits the saprophytic nutrition, they are called saprophytes. So example of saprophytes like fungi and bread mold. Next, yeast. These are the best examples for the saprophytic nutrition. Means nothing but which takes the food, means already digested food into the body. So next one is parasitic nutrition. So best example you can take as a parasites. Why? Because you are not earning your money by your own, but you are depending upon your mother and father for food and even shelter also. Like that, the organisms which depends on other organisms, which live on other organisms for food and without killing them. Even they take the shelter from that organism also. Parasitic nutrition means the organisms which take the food from other organism by living in them without killing them and also taking the shelter. So they are called parasites, and such type of nutrition is called parasitic nutrition. So example of parasitic nutrition about a dodder plant like cuscuta and female like a Plasmodium vivox. These Plasmodium vivox will present in the female Culex mosquito. In the saliva of female Culex mosquito, it will take the nutrients from the mosquito and shelter from the mosquito also. And like roundworms, small white worm, roundworms are present in our stomach. They live in our stomach, but they won't kill us, but they will take the nutrients from our body and live safely in our body. So this is about the parasitic nutrition. Next one is holozoic nutrition. What is meant by holozoic nutrition is nothing but taking the solid food from the mouth and digested with the help of a digestive system and absorbed into the body, and after the remaining waste material will be removed outside the body. That is happened in holozoic nutrition. Nothing but taking the solid food into the mouth, into the body with the help of a mouth, and digested and absorbed into the body and eliminated outside the body, nothing but waste material. That is called holozoic nutrition. Example of holozoic nutrition which exhibits, they are called like humans, animals like cat, dog, cow, and these are all comes under holozoic nutrition. Why? We take the food, solid food into the mouth and digested in our stomach, and the waste material will be eliminated outside. This comes under holozoic nutrition. Next we are going to learn about in detail about how the plants prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. So how the photosynthesis equation was came. So photosynthesis, photo means light. So synthesis nothing but preparation of food. So the plants which prepare their own food in presence of light, that process is called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is also called carbon assimilation. Photosynthesis is also called carbon assimilation, means distribution of carbon. So first, the scientists who worked to give a proper equation for the photosynthesis, he was a scientist called Van Niel. Who scientists worked on the photosynthesis equation means Van Niel. Before the Van Niel, several scientists worked on the photosynthesis process, and they given an information, they given a basic information that carbon dioxide and water reacts in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to give carbohydrates and water. So like that the basic information was given before the Van Til. Some scientists, based upon this equation, Van Til conducted series of experiments. First, instead of water, he took elemental hydrogen sulfur. To give a proper equation for the photosynthesis, based upon this equation given by the several scientists before Van Til, he took, instead of water, he took hydrogen sulfur. So when carbon dioxide reacted with the hydrogen sulfur in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, it gives carbohydrates and water. So and elemental sulfur. So based upon this equation, he given a final equation for the photosynthesis. What is that? 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O and reacts in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to give glucose, water and oxygen as a byproduct. So this is the final equation which was given by Van Til based upon the previous explanations which were given by different scientists. First he worked on hydrogen sulfur. When he worked on hydrogen sulfur, when the carbon dioxide will react with the hydrogen sulfur in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, along with the carbohydrates and water, elemental sulfur was released. So based upon these, he concluded a final reaction. That equation for the photosynthesis nothing but 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O. When reacts with the in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, they give glucose, water and oxygen. So carbon dioxide and waters, these are organic compounds which react in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to give inorganic compounds like glucose. Okay, so sometimes they'll ask questions in 2 marks. So what are the organic compounds helps in the reaction of photosynthesis? Nothing but carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. And the source also you have to write. How? Carbon dioxide is from atmosphere, water is from roots from the soil, and light is from sun, and chlorophyll is you learn about in 9th class about the different types of plastids. Chlorophyll is a green color substance present in chloroplast. Okay, so chlorophyll is a green color substance present in chloroplast. With the help of all these organic compounds, inorganic compound called glucose was produced along with the water and oxygen. This is about the Van Til equation. And next we are going to learn different types of experiment conducted by different scientists based upon these organic compounds. What are the need of organic compounds to get the glucose molecules? First we learned about the presence of starch experiment. Next we are going to learn an experiment presence of starch in leaves. So what are the materials required for this experiment? Glass jar, beaker, test tube, tripod stand, iron gauze, dropper, leaf, test tube holder, Bunsen burner, iodine solution, and methylated spirit. First, we have to pick the leaf from the plant. Next, take a beaker with water and take a test tube, pour methylated spirit into it and keep leaf in the test tube. Insert the leaf into the test tube with the help of a forceps. It should be immersed completely into the test tube, methylated spirit, and boil the leaf in the methylated spirit over a water bath. Boil the leaf till it becomes pale white color. Means chlorophyll will be removed while boiling in the methylated spirit. Take the leaf from the test tube and place it in a petri dish with the help of a forceps. Spirit becomes pale green color due to dissolved chlorophyll in it. Leaf becomes pale white due to the removal of chlorophyll when we boil in the methylated spirit. Then add a iodine solution on the leaf with the help of a dropper like this. So when we add iodine solution onto the leaf changes its color. Yes, leaf turns into the blue black color. It indicates that starch is present in the leaf. So what are the precautions you have to take? Spirit is highly inflammable, so be careful while handling it. Next, be careful while handling the glass items. Glassware will be easily breakable, so handle with care. Next, we are going to learn how gases helps in the process of photosynthesis. For this, Joseph Priestley conducted series of experiments to know how the gases involved in the process of photosynthesis. So, air and photosynthesis. Joseph Priestley, who discovered oxygen in 1774, performed a series of experiments to reveal the essential role of air in the growth of plants. And he observed that when a burning candle is enclosed in a bell jar, the flame of the candle is gradually put out. And in the same way, a mouse also suffocates in the closed space, such as in an enclosed bell jar, and it dies. From these observations, Priestley concluded that a burning candle and the animal change the composition of the air. So he reasoned that something was necessary in the air to keep the flame burning and to make the mouse alive. Priestley then placed a mint plant inside the same bell jars, and he found that the mouse stayed alive and the candle, when lighted from the outside, continued burning in the presence of mint plant. Priestley hypothesized that plants produced a gas, oxygen, that supports the burning of the candle and also allowed the mouse to survive by the process respiration. The production of gas takes place due to the massive exchange of gases occurring through a particular section of the leaves called stomata, and also through the loose tissues on the stems, roots, etc. We learn about different types of experiments, that how the
So this is the Joseph Priestley
plants prepare their
experiment.
own food and stores the food in the form of starch. And next one is Joseph Priestley experiment also learned. So in this Joseph Priestley experiment, he is the scientist who discovered oxygen. He is a scientist who discovered oxygen. Actually, Joseph Priestley want to know about the different gases or the role of gases involved in the process of photosynthesis. For that, he conducted a bell jar experiment, as we discussed. So by this bell jar experiment, he discovered oxygen. After Joseph Priestley experiment, bell jar experiment, the another scientist called Lavoisier. Who given name for the gas that is nothing but oxygen. Okay, the term oxygen coined by the scientist called Lavoisier. So by this bell jar experiment, we can Joseph Priestley proved that oxygen is essential for all the living organisms to perform all the life process. And next experiment we are going to learn nothing but, until now we'll discuss about normally how the gases are involved in the photosynthesis process and how the plant store the food in the form of starch. Next experiment is how the carbon dioxide is essential for the photosynthesis. Okay, how carbon dioxide essential for photosynthesis. For this experiment, a scientist called von Helmont conducted a series of experiments to know the role of carbon dioxide is essential for the process of photosynthesis. Now we are going to learn in detail about the experiment von Helmont, not Molhouse. Molhouse, he is a scientist who done a series of experiments to know the role of carbon dioxide is essential for the photosynthesis. So the experiment is called Molhouse leaf experiment. Okay. We are going to learn experiment to prove that carbon dioxide is essential for the photosynthesis. What are the materials required for this experiment? Potted plant, KOH solution, glass bottle, iodine solution, grease, split cork. Take a potted plant with long and narrow leaves. Keep it in a dark place for weekdays. This process is called destarching. Now leaves are free from starch. Take a glass bottle with 5 to 6 ml of KOH solution and add into the glass bottle with the help of a dropper. Insert half of the leaf into the glass bottle by using split cork. Close the bottle without leaving any gap by using grease. So like this you have to apply on up of the cork. Keep the entire setup in the sunlight for 4 to 5 hours. After 4 to 5 hours, detach the leaf from the plant like this carefully. The leaf should not break. And boil the leaf in the methylated spirit over a water bath till it becomes a pale white color. Then test the leaf by using iodine solution. So pour the iodine solution all over the leaf. So is there any color changes there? After applying iodine solution, after a few minutes you can observe the change. Half of the leaf changes to bluish black color. After a few minutes, part of the leaf which is present outside the bottle turns into a blue black color. Part of the leaf which is present inside the bottle doesn't turns into the blue black color. Means half of the part which is enclosed in a glass bottle, carbon dioxide was not present, so that photosynthesis doesn't take place. Due to that, starch is not present in that part of the leaf.